Matt and I are out this morning. We're going to try to work in the garden, even though it's been so wet. But this is like a break day in the rain. It's supposed to come back later today and tonight and rain most of tomorrow. So it is a little wet, but we're going to try to get out here and do some things anyway, or the weeds are just going to get away from us. We're going to focus on this area to begin with. We're going to see if we can get this done. The beans are beginning to get up to the cattle panel and starting to climb up. The okri's up. The beets, some of them are at least this big, so maybe I'm going to actually grow some beets for a change. It's been so many years since I've grown beets. Anyway, everything's looking really good, but what's happening is the weeds are also growing like that. So we're going to see if we can get all the weeds out of this part of the garden. Matt and I were outside working, and I had the best idea to surprise him. I've been wanting to make lemonade for, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. I finally bought some lemons, and I was thinking I'd make it later in the week. But it's kind of muggy and hot out there, and I thought, oh, that would be so good, like a nice cold lemonade. Now, I should have made it yesterday, and it would be much better than it will be today, but still, I'm going to go ahead and make it. Now, to make lemonade, I'll read to you. It's in mine and Jim's cookbook, but it's so easy to make lemonade. You'll see why I put it in the cookbook, just because of this part about Granny. So all you need is lemons, water, and sugar. And all that depends on how much you want to make and how sweet you like it and how lemony you like it. So it's something you just have to play with. But this is what I wrote in the cookbook. Granny didn't make lemonade often, but when she did, the days seemed to be extra special. My brother Paul and I would run around the kitchen, hooraying and clapping for the cold, delicious beverage Granny set on the table for us. We just loved it. And probably we loved it because she didn't make it very often, you know. It made it really special. So when I first decided to make a picture of Granny's lemonade, I called her. This is after I was married and living up here, you know, with my family. I called her and asked her for the recipe, and she said, "Goodness, I don't have a recipe. Just bring some sugar and water to a boil, cut some lemons and put them in your pitcher, pour the sugar water over them, fill the pitcher the rest of the way with water, and let it sit for a while." That's how simple it is. So, super easy. I've got my sugar water over here on the stove. I better check on it though. Okay, it is ready. You don't really need to boil it for long, and the way Granny said that, bring it to a boil, it's just by the time you bring it to a boil, all your sugar will be melted. That's the point. So my sugar's already all dissolved, so I turned it off. Now I'm going to get my container or my pitcher. I had to rob it. I had pineapple kefir water in it, but I wanted to make this much, so I poured it out into one of my other jars. I've already washed my lemons. And as far as cutting your lemons up, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. You could put them in circles. That's pretty. Sometimes floating around. You could do them in, this one's got a little bad place I'm going to cut off. You could do them in quarters. That's mostly what Granny did, so that's what I'm going to do. But you could do it any way that you want to. And when I put them, this is not the best because it's got a narrow top. I try to like squeeze a little bit, get some of the juices started in there. And I don't worry about the seeds. I worry about them when I pour it out, but you certainly could make sure that you take the seeds out. I'll save those ends that I cut off to put in my next kefir water, just for that lemon flavor. I didn't really need to even cut them off, but I did. But I'll still use them for that. I like one of my favorite kefir water, and I have a video, so I can put a link in the description below, or you can just search for it about how to make kefir water. And our favorites, mostly about all I make these days, is the pineapple and ginger and lemon. That's what we love. Okay, I think I'm ready to pour my sugar water in. I already had my funnel when I was doing the pineapple. And you, of course, would want to be careful with a glass jar. You wouldn't want it real hot because it might, you know, if it was cold, it might break it. A lot of people ask me about these jars that I have, and I don't know where you could get them. They're all old. Some of them come from Miss Cindy. She gave them to me. I think this one actually come from my friend Granny Sue, Granny Sue's News and Reviews. You can go to her blog. She's a storyteller and read about it. And one time her and her husband Larry come and visited with us, and she brought me this as a gift. Very nice. So now I just need to fill it the rest of the way with cold water. Looks beautiful. Get one of my, see some of those, I love it when the little lemon pieces start floating around. And like I said, it'd be better if I did it early this morning, but I think it'll still be okay. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. I told Matt I just had to come in and I forgot to do something. I just had to come in and do something real quick. I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator, put my pineapple in, and then go back out and help Matt, and then in a little while we'll taste it. Matt got this little area all weeded out real nice while I was inside. The squash and zucchini we got from the Satterfields is beginning to bloom. That's good. Hopefully we'll have some, I don't know, I can't remember where I planted where, or what I planted where, but I think those are squash blooming. Either way, that'll be good eating. This is my really overgrown flowers here. I wanted this year to make sure that I kept them really weeded, but that's just not happened. But you can see there's daffodils that have bloomed and long since bloomed, and their fronds are just fell over everywhere. I need to cut those back. Right above them, though, some beautiful daylilies about to bloom. My phlox, which always just increases every year, it's wild, it's about to bloom. I see some gladolias back there about to bloom. This yellow flower here, people call it by different names. The lady that gave it to me, sweet Nancy Simpson, she's no longer with us. I used to work for her in her yard sometimes, and she called it sundrops. And it is very prolific. It blooms, it's beautiful. It does spread pretty bad though, so I've got to where if I see it somewhere else, I just pull it up. But it is pretty, really bright yellow. Mixed in back there with the gladolias, there's some irises that have already finished blooming. They're done for this year. I see a columbine there that's done, long since done. That's one of the first things that blooms. And all those the little where the flower was, these are all full of seeds. So I've had columbines for years. You can, I don't know if you can hear that. Even as I'm shaking them, sounds like a rattle, but they're spreading out everywhere. A lot of times I'll just cut that and take it somewhere else and lay it down so that next year I have more columbines. You could also save the seeds though and then replant them wherever you wanted to. I just take the easy way of throwing them here and there. One reason though I'm sad that I let it get like this again this year is back over in there somewhere I noticed a peony bush growing, and I guess I planted it because it wouldn't have just come up on its own. I don't see it at all now. It was just one little piece. I wonder if Granny gave it to me last year and I planted it. Anyway, I don't even know where it's at now. I'd have to get in there and try to beat all that back and give it some room to actually get sunshine and breathe. Up here in the front this is bee balm, so it'll bloom and it'll be really pretty. It's a pink bee balm, and it just grows so tall. Some years it'll get taller than I am, and it just has to be cut back. You could use it for medicinal things. You can make tea out of it. Mostly we just love it because it's pretty. The bees love it, so it's a good pollinator. Several people have asked about the rose that a dear sweet person sent us in honor of Miss Cindy. You can see it right here. It's alive. It's doing good. It bloomed. The only problem is it's too surrounded by stuff. So again, I should have already been in here cutting all that back. Matt's hoed all this out too. Looks so much better if I just had the flowers all beat back. But those are parsnips right here on this side. And we've never grown parsnips before, so I hope they're growing down below, but the top part really looks good. And then these are our row of carrots. We've got 2 rows of carrots over on the other side of the parsnips. We've continued cleaning out as we come down through this part of the garden. Matt tilled me up a really nice place right there and put some compost on it, and I'm going to finally plant some winter squash for us. I'm going to do a Chambers Creek pumpkin. That's just our favorite. That's an old variety that my friend Don Cassida shared with me several years ago, and I just keep saving the seeds. I don't know that you can buy it anywhere, but I think one that's really close to it is the Cherokee pumpkin, Cherokee tan, I think it's called, so you could look for that, but we really love it. I'm going to plant the green and white striped cushaw. We love those. And then I'm going to do a couple of just butternuts because we really enjoy those. Now those are the ones I'm going to limit myself to up here, I think. But other ones I want to try is, I've tried Mrs. Emerson's for like 2 years in a row, and I've never managed to grow it. I'm beginning to think maybe my seeds are not not that kind of seeds. The first year I planted it and I thought that that's what I was growing. It was a spaghetti squash. Last year, it wasn't really a spaghetti squash, but it was something strange, and I'm just not sure, so I don't know if I'll do that. And then the candy roaster, we always plant some candy roaster seeds, and we love those. They're like, if you don't know what a candy roaster is, think of a pumpkin in an oblong shape, but I think they have a richer, better flavor than pumpkin. So I'm going to do some of those. Now I probably can't do all those up here, but some of them, we've still got space in the big garden. I'm going to do some down there. But I think up here I'll do at least one hill of the Cherokee, or excuse me, chambers, like the Cherokee, and one of the cushaw, and one of the butternuts. And then I'm going to show you something. I pulled up my radishes. Our radishes we planted up here just didn't do any good at all. Didn't do no good at all. No count this year. The ones in the back are beautiful. They've got big radishes on them, and I've been enjoying them, even though I'm torn between should I enjoy them, or is that what's supposed to be protecting my cucumbers from the squash bugs. But someone told me, thank you so much. So this is I've got a whole bowl full of the little things. I'll put that down. But this is a radish plant that has went to seed. You can see it's still got 1 or 2 little blooms on it. It didn't make a radish, it just went to seed. So I know these little pods, I've saved those before, and they have, once they dry out, they have seeds in them. They have radish seeds in them. But one of you left a wonderful comment about that they're edible, you can eat them, and they called them radish beans, and they said they were wonderful to snack on or to like saute or something. So when I was pulling them up, I thought, okay, I'm going to try one of them. I've already tried one of them, but very crunchy. Tastes very similar to a radish. So I like them, so I love them. That little bowlful's all I got, so it's not like that's enough to have a meal for everyone or to put up or anything like that. But thank you for telling me that, because I definitely will pull the rest of these off. And I'll probably be the only one that eats them, but I'll take them inside and I can snack on them. So I'm really glad that you taught me that. You're always teaching me stuff, all of you are, so I appreciate that. And then where I pulled the radishes up from, that row's already nice made there. Matt made it for me back early in the spring. I'm just going to kind of pick the weeds out of it and scratch off the top, and then I'm going to plant some flowers there, and maybe some dill and some cilantro. No, I think I brought basil, dill and basil and flowers. I'm just going to put it in that row, and maybe it'll come up, and maybe it'll be beautiful. I already have dill and basil in the back, so I'm good on that, but I think that would be really lovely down here. One other thing I want to do this morning, since Matt's got all the bean patch and where the tomatoes and the cabbage and everything is, he's got it so nice and tilled up. I'm going to go back along at each end at least, maybe even some in the middle, and I'm going to plant some sunflowers. I've planted the dwarf sunflower that did wonderful for me last year. I've planted it twice and it's not come up either time, or something's dug up the seeds and ate them, one or the other. But I'm going to try some of these down here. It's got hot.
Yeah.
I have you a surprise, though. You're just going to have to sit here and wait, okay?
All right.
I'll be right back. So my lemonade has not really had time to get good and cold. It's getting there, but it's not. I should have made it earlier, but I didn't think of surprising Matt till the last minute. I did put 2 of our glasses in the freezer. You can see they're nice and frosted. I've never ever done that before, but I'm thinking maybe it'll make the lemonade colder. Let's see if I can pour them. I better move my cookbook though, because I probably will spill. It smells wonderful. It does have those little pieces of wonderful lemon floating around like I love, so that's a good sign. Of course, I did make a big mess. Won't matter though, after working outside, you're dirty anyway. And I have a seed in one of them. Now let's just hope Matt likes it. Surprise!
Thank you.
It would have been better if I'd thought of it earlier, but what do you think?
It's good. Very good.
It's not very cold though. It didn't have time to get cold, and then I tried to put our glasses in the freezer, and they were frosty, but very good. Hits the spot.
It does.
Matt loves lemon anything. I'm not that crazy about lemon, but I do love lemonade.
I hadn't done that in a long time.
I just got it on my mind that I wanted to make some, and I bought the lemons, but I'd never made it. And while we were out there working, I was thinking, gosh, what would be so good is a big tall glass of cold lemonade. So that's what I went in and made. Don't you love all those little pieces of lemon floating in it?
I do.
When I was young and Granny would make it, me and Pa would get so excited because she didn't make it very often, so it was like a real treat.
Very good.
If you're wondering about our wonderful glasses here, they're both just old jelly jars. This one actually come from my Granny Gazzy's house. I loved it because it had a handle. And this one come from Granny's basement, so I'm not sure if it was one of ours or one, like when I was growing up, if she bought jelly in it or if it was just she had collected it from somewhere. It's my favorite glasses to drink out of though. Well, jelly jars, and I love the ones, I love vintage, I guess is what I'm saying, but I love the ones, I've got green and gold. The green ones were Matt's mom and dad's when they first got married, you know, with the knobbly things. I love those, so I drink out of them a lot. Was that last year or year before when we got to go to Josh's antique place? It was year before, I guess.
Year before.
Anyway, I bought some there. I bought 4. I think it was 4. Maybe it was 6, and we're down to about 3 because they're old and vintage, but they're drinking glasses. The jelly ones are made of such heavy glass that it's hard to break them, but they were actually just old drinking glasses, and they've got broken. This is probably not big enough for you to drink out of normally. I mean, you know, jelly jars, are they?
Yeah, I drink out of them.
Matt has some tall, like mug things he likes to drink out of too. Man, that hits the spot. I should make lemonade more often. I probably ain't made lemonade in how many years?
I don't know. It's been a long time.
Very good. And it'll be even better when it gets cold. Of course, it may be gone before it gets cold.
Yeah.
We may drink it. Katie may find out about it. Well, our little morning in the garden, we got a lot done. And this is how we're supposed to do it, right? Get out early and then quit.
Yes.
So we're quitting for today. Well, we're not. We got other stuff we got to do, but we're quitting out here for today. That's the way Matt says we ought to do it, but we're bad to not do it that way. End up working in the hottest part of the day. The garden's coming right along though. Matt fertilized the beans, and he even threw some fertilizer around the squash and zucchini, and that's just 10-10-10 fertilizer. You could use any kind of fertilizer you want to. A lot of people love fish emulsion, and we use that sometimes. Not on those things necessarily, but on other things. And we use compost from our chickens, and then we use compost, what Matt was spreading out where we planted the winter squash there was compost we bought, which is mushroom compost is what it's called. Matt tells me it's horse manure.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Anyway, let's see, seems like there's something else I was going to say about the beans. If there was, I can't remember it. They are starting to climb though, so that's good. This fertilizer will really help them. And we're supposed to get rain tonight, all tomorrow, so that's a good time to put it out. Oh, I know what else I was going to say. Was with the winter squash, I ended up planting, I did plant 2 hills of candy roaster. So up here we have the Chambers Creek pumpkin, candy roaster, and the green white striped cushaw that we just love, and then the butternut. So hopefully those will all do good and won't be attacked by squash bugs.
Yeah.
I did hear all the, because I've talked so much about the squash bugs, a lot of people have been giving me all kinds of tips. Thank you for all of them. But one person said, I don't remember if it was them or someone in their family, said just don't plant till your squash till after June something it was. And that way it's like the squash bug, when they would hatch out or whatever, it's too late for them. So we're in June now. I don't know if that'll help us or not. But anyway, we're always glad when you stop by to visit with us and help us celebrate Appalachia.